Zone. Happy Thursday morning, everyone. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed on this Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us. We have got a fantastic show lined up for you on this Thursday. And, on Monday, we sat here, and Drew DeArmond is out again today. He will be back next week. Believe me, I have talked to Drew aplenty. He's itching to get back here. He wants to get back here, and he will be back here sooner than later. We just wish him the best. And I tell you what, it's days like today that I am going to miss having him to my right. I promise you you'll understand as the show goes along. So on Monday, we sat here, and we were like, you know what? We don't feel like doing anything on Friday. So we're not. We're not going to do a show tomorrow. I mean, we're still not going to do a show tomorrow because, we're missing Drew, and it's been 4 days. And, we just want to enjoy a Friday away from here. So I get up this morning, and I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be one of those days where we come in here. I had some topics I had picked out. I thought this is going to be a fun day. Heck, Huntsville's getting 6 Del Tacos. I thought this is just going to be one of those days. And then I wake up and I check Twitter. And I am like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Everything that I was going to talk about, we can just shelve because Nick Saban just eviscerated college football on his own last night. So let's set the stage for you. As I am sure by now, if you follow sports or if you did not get a chance to see, we're going to fill you in and let you know everything that's going on. So Mike Rodak from AL.com did a roundtable, or I guess you could say a town hall discussion from AL.com. He had Nate Oates and he had Nick Saban on stage. And basically, they just answered questions from Mike Rodak and just kind of laid it out there on their feelings. Nate Oates was okay. Nate Oates just kind of, said what Nate Oates usually does. But Nick Saban, for months, Drew DeArmond has sat here and said, we're not going to call them Texas A&M anymore. We're going to call them Texas ATM because remember that social media post on Twitter that said Texas A&M bought their recruiting class. Jimbo Fisher went on a tirade. Jimbo Fisher defended himself. Jimbo Fisher said, I don't know what you're talking about. No, we did not do this. We've talked about collectives on this show. We've talked about everything on this show. And we've said SEC Media Days were going to be entertaining because Jimbo Fisher is going to get asked 1,000,000 times about collectives, about his recruiting class. I guarantee you after what Nick Saban said yesterday, the SEC spring meetings will be exciting in a week or so. But come July 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, SEC Media Days are going to be what the kids call lit. They are going to be off the wall. Anyway, here is what Nick Saban had to say last night. I've got multiple clips to play from Nick Saban. But this clip is the clip that is getting the most attention.
No, the consequence is going to be difficult for the people who are spending tons of money to get players. And you've read about them. You know who they are. We were second in recruiting last year. A&M was first. A&M bought every player on their team, made a deal for name, image, and likeness. All right, we didn't buy one player. All right, but I don't know if we're going to be able to sustain that in the future because more and more people are doing it. Yeah. So it's
There you go. Nick Saban he didn't cut corners. He didn't say there are schools we know about because, in the past, Nick Saban, He doesn't generally refer to said school. He will say, hey, certain schools we know are doing this. He flat out called out Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M for buying their recruiting class the wrong way. Flat out called out Jimbo Fisher.
Good.
This is when I wish he was sitting here.
He'd be like, good.
To the right. This is when I wish he was sitting here, because this table would have been pounded into eternity. It would have been, I mean,
there were a lot of nice cars when I walked around campus before NIL. So I don't know where these accusations it can go when he's talking about other schools benefiting and everything like that. And you can't not tell me that Coach Prime didn't buy a couple players as well as because I don't think that most people are just going to certain schools based on the coach.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know Texas A&M. I mean, we've heard Jimbo Fisher. That's the thing, though, because now Jimbo Fisher is going to get a rebuttal. He's going to get a chance, whether he does it now,
we have a debate,
or he does it at spring meetings, or he does it at SEC Media Days. Jimbo Fisher is going to have a retort, and I'm wondering what Jimbo Fisher is going to say now. I'm wondering what Jimbo Fisher is going to say. What will he do to counteract what Nick Saban said?
He'll come out with like a real long statement, he'll be like this
Maybe.
and say, hey, we don't do that here at Texas A&M.
So Nick goes eviscerating on Texas A&M.
Yeah,
throws Jimbo Fisher out just throws it out there. He doesn't stop there. So we have those Aflac commercials, right? And Nick Saban, Deion Sanders, they look good together.
Yeah,
they've been good commercials, right?
Yeah,
they're going to have to stop those commercials. Because Nick Saban not only went off on Jimbo Fisher, he went off on Deion Sanders.
They cannot enforce their rules, just like Nate said. We have a rule right now that says you cannot use name, image, and likeness to entice a player to come to your school. Hell, read about it in the paper. I mean, Jackson State paid a guy $1 million last year that was a really good Division I player to come to school. It was in the paper, and they bragged about it. Nobody did anything about it. I mean, these guys at Miami that are going to play basketball there for $400,000, it's in the newspaper. The guy tells you how he's doing it. So, but the NCAA can't enforce their rules because it's not against the law. And that's an issue. That's a problem. And unless we get something that protects them from litigation, I don't know what we're going to do about it.
So there you go. Nick Saban takes a shot at Deion Sanders for doing what he did. Now Deion Sanders, we know Deion isn't going to stay quiet.
No, he's going to come out. They have a three-way debate between all three of them. That'd be great.
He said, Deion Sanders yesterday came out on Twitter, as you might expect, and said, and I quote, "You best believe I will address that lie." And he put it in all caps, lie. Coach Saban told Tomorrow, "I was and awakened by my son that sent me the article stating that," and again, in all caps, we paid Travis Hunter $1 million to play at Jackson State. We as in all caps, people don't have to pay our, in caps, people to play with our, all in caps, people.
What direction was that even going? Like, that had nothing to do with what Nick Saban was saying. Like,
it's exactly what he said. I mean, because Nick Saban said that Jackson State paid Travis Hunter $1 million to come there. Deion saying, we don't have to pay people to come here.
I just find it confusing how, he's the same coach that came out and said that he would go out and say all these things and reveal all this information about all these NFL teams that didn't show up to pro day for Jackson State and blah, 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 and he hasn't done that. He always talks. That's all he's ever been is talk. And it's like, it's going to be funny when you actually try to prove how you got a recruit to come to Jackson State, because obviously recruits aren't coming to Jackson State. All of a sudden now this is a deal for our players to go, and then all of a sudden you're able to get a player to go there. So this guy's going to get paid way more than the entire roster of Jackson State. And it just looks bad. I mean, I don't know how you can defend that.
Well, Nick Saban, though, is right in one aspect. The NCAA cannot do anything about it right now. Because if one of these kids says,
yeah,
or, they have agents now, and remember, last week
they're
we were talking
employees,
about
they're not
if
students
these agents
anymore.
come out and say, you're preventing my client from making money, that's an antitrust thing.
Yeah, they're employees now. They're not students anymore.
Nick
They're allowed
Saban
to have
talking
agents.
about the toothless NCAA. We give the NCAA a hard time on this show. And
no.
A lot. What?
I said no. I think every show is pretty harsh on the NCAA.
All right. Well, Nick Saban talks about the toothless NCAA.
Tough, and people blame the NCAA. But in defense of the NCAA, we are where we are because of the litigation that the NCAA gets, like the transfer portal. Every time somebody wanted to transfer, they'd apply for a waiver. If the NCAA didn't give them a waiver so they could be immediately eligible, they filed suit. So the NCAA would back off and give them a waiver. So they just said, we're just going to make a rule where everybody can transfer. That's how that happened. So if the NCAA doesn't get some protection from litigation, whether we got to get an antitrust or whatever it is, from a federal government standpoint, this is not going to change because they cannot enforce their rules, just like Nate said. We have a rule right now.
So there you go. They can't enforce their rules right now. Nick Saban letting us know that. I mean, we've talked about that on the show, that they cannot enforce it. And they've come out and said, the NCAA has come out and said, hey, we're going to look at the egregious claims beforehand. But unless they're really, really, really bad, we're not going to come after these schools for doing what they did. We can only look forward and punish the schools going forward.
Which is just going to be insanely hard to do. Because I feel like unless they actually start coming out with something and do something about it and start cracking down on it, then it's just going to, like we said before, it's the Wild Wild West, and we have no idea what's going on.
All I know is that people are waking up today and
Alabama fans are rolling up their sleeves to defend Nick
Saban. If you were on the fence or whatever,
bare knuckle brawling to defend Nick Saban right now.
Oh my gosh. I mean, look, we've seen Nick Saban say comments before, like I said, but he's always kind of hinted at the schools. He's never come out and directly called out a school. Let's go to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Justin's with us this morning. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good.
The gloves are off, baby.
Oh, they're off.
Just take them off and just let's go to war. I mean, hey, Jimbo should have known there was consequences for beating his daddy. So,
you can't beat your older brother in video games. It's just not. It's just not supposed to happen.
He's always going to be. And the world's better at getting revenge on somebody after they beat him than Nick Saban. So he's right though. I mean, he's right about one thing. There's nobody can compete with Texas A&M and Texas's money based on the way they've got the rules laid out for this NIL stuff. Texas and Texas A&M should have the number 1 and number 2 ranked recruiting class in the country every year, if it's going to be this way.
No, you're right. You're right. The way that they have it now with the collectives and everything set up, the schools that have the ability, and Texas, we all know Texas has the deepest pockets in all of college football. If Texas wants to buy the number 1 recruiting class every year, they can easily do so. Texas A&M is not too far behind them, and hence bought the best recruiting class that we've seen assembled.
Yeah, it's going to be. I'm glad I'm glad Alabama plays them in Tuscaloosa. It might have been if this happened last year, and Alabama going to Texas A&M, it might have gotten. Saban might have had to wear body armor to get into the stadium. And
It might be worse than going to a night game at LSU.
I mean, I remember when he went to Baton Rouge in 2008. And this is going to be when he goes back to A&M in 2023. It's going to be. Oof. He'll have to wear body armor to get in the stadium. It'll be nasty, but he's right. I mean, he's not telling nothing that's not true. Everything that he said was exactly right. I mean, you can't deny that. Even Texas A&M can't deny that. But yeah, I'm looking forward. Football just got. It was already the most exciting sport in the world, and it just got a lot more exciting, especially in the South.
Well, I would love it if on SEC Media Days, if Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban would be there at the same time, but unfortunately they're not. Nick Saban will be in Atlanta on Tuesday. Jimbo Fisher will not come to Atlanta until Thursday. So
that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, now it is.
I love it. I mean, I like the sparring. I mean, I think it makes things more interesting. I don't like the NIL rules. I've called in and made my presence felt about the way I feel about how they handle this stuff, and it's basically, in a lot of ways, in my opinion, has ruined a lot of the college game already in a year. And until they get some regulations on it, it's going to make it worse.
No, you're right. And the NCAA right now, I mean, I understand it a little bit more. You hear Nick Saban talk about it, and you understand why Mark Emmert was now in D.C. at Congress trying to do what he was doing. Because of all the antitrust laws and all the national stuff, you understand now a little bit more what Mark Emmert was trying to accomplish. Didn't quite get it done, didn't quite do it soon enough. He kind of dragged his feet a little bit. But now you know why he was pounding the table at Congress trying to get something done.
Right. I mean, it's like I said before. I mean, if a kid has a jersey hanging up at Dick's Sporting Goods or Hibbett's, if a kid has a jersey hanging up and somebody buys that jersey, do I think the kid should make some money off that? Absolutely. But, you know, we're still talking about amateur athletes who are going to school, living for free, getting free food, tuition, books, housing. You know, the pay for extra, you know, like basically how Texas A&M did it. I mean, you know, it's not an amateur game anymore when it comes to that. It's just, it takes the amateur game out of the equation. You know, making money off a jersey or making money off of, you know, something like that, or if they sign something, if somebody pays them money, if they put their signature on something, I do believe a kid should get some money for that. I do, but not whenever they've not played a down of football for your university, and you're already putting out $1.5, $2 million, whatever you're throwing at these kids. I heard Michael Jordan say one time, talk about when the NBA became very corporate. He said that, you know, the kids today are making so much money off what him and Charles Barkley and Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and all those guys did to bring corporate into the NBA, but they did it by earning it. You know, now we're teaching kids not to earn anything anymore, and yep. It's sad to me, but that's all I wanted to say. But I appreciate you guys' time.
All right, thanks for the phone call. All right, we got to get a break in. We still have more Nick Saban clips to get throughout the show. We've got more to get to, but I told you, Chad, we were supposed to have one of those shows today where we just sit back, take it easy.
Very easy.
We have our Friday show on a Thursday, and we talk a little golf. We talk it was almost going to be like a stroll in the park.
No.
But Nick Saban just decided just to run everybody over and just cause all this nice little fun stuff for us.
Never
on
a dull
Thursday.
moment with Nick Saban, I swear. I mean, always great sound bites, always great stuff.
All right. We got to take a break. When we come back, we will talk the PGA Championship. Oh, there's a good name atop the leaderboard.
Still a good-looking morning. No wrecks, no stalls, no traffic signal problems that we found so far. You be careful on your ride in this morning. Put a little extra room in there so you got somewhere to go in case something does go wrong around you. 2030 Fast Track can make your clothes fall off. Allison lost 100 pounds in 7 months on the plan. A free hormone quiz will tell you if it can work for you. 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
The Braves are back, and they're on a mission to defend the East, defend the National League pennant, and defend their world title.
Line drive, that is through. It gets through. Here comes Dansby, and the Braves walk it off. This is unbelievable.
Tomorrow night, it's another big NLE series from South Florida as the Braves roll into Marlins Ballpark to take on Miami. Braves Radio goes on the air at 5:25 Eastern, 4:25 Central on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, "If you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself."
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, "You need a new roof." Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
T-minus 3, 2, 1, blast.
Trash Panda Nation, ignite the fun, let's rock it.
The Trash Pandas are back for 6 games at Toyota Field starting Tuesday, May 24th against the Tennessee Smokies. The week's promotions include an Izzy Wilson bobblehead giveaway on Tuesday, Armed Forces Night on Thursday, and a Trash Pandas camo cap giveaway on Sunday. Get your tickets for all the fun now at TrashPandasBaseball.com.
Let's rock it.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Hey, North Alabama, this is Chuck Oliver. We've got college football all over the place, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
Where would this college be without football?
Listen to me weekdays at noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Coming up next, it's the Tom Abraham Show with me, Tom Abraham. Now back to more Talking Ball with Scott and Drew.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And we will get back to Nick Saban and everything that he said, because there's more to digest there. But there is a nice big golf tournament going on right now. Tiger Woods, he's made his way to Southern Hills in Tulsa, Oklahoma, to the golf course. Tiger enjoying some practice as he gets ready for his round Tigers' odds to win this, I think we're around 60-1, 70-1 to win the PGA Championship. Whether or not he is able to make it through, we'll have to wait and see. But it is a golf tournament, and if that means one of the majors is on the table, we're going to bring in our golf analyst to help us break that down. And Charles Plott from Plott Performance in studio with us this morning as we look ahead to the PGA Championship. We were talking about this yesterday, this PGA Championship. We were, because they are gouging people for beer.
I saw that.
This?
$18?
$18 for a beer.
Well,
the
delivery costs have gone up. You're aware of that.
You can still go to the Masters and get one for $5.
Well, I understand.
So there's no reason to charge. But anyway, PGA Championship going on right now. And this PGA Championship should be about the field. It should be about the course. It should be about Tiger Woods, making another major appearance. But instead, we're talking about guys that are not there.
Correct. Phil Mickelson.
Yeah.
Defending champion. One of the favorites of the fans, and they just love him, and he has so ostracized himself with comments. He tried to lead I don't want to say a revolt, but probably.
No, he did. I mean, we can call
that.
it a revolt because he was trying to get guys to leave the PGA Tour to go play for this upstart Saudi tour.
Yes, which you have to understand, Phil. I have sat and spoken to him for 2.5 hours. We sat and talked one time. Phil is a unique individual, and I say that he's honestly weird. Into all sorts of ideas and possibilities, conspiracy theories. Phil has one of the world's greatest T-Rex skulls in his house. When Phil was, and I know this because Azinger told me this, that when I worked with the 08 Ryder Cup team, the captain gives each player a gift. Usually it's the same for everybody. And Azinger was struggling with what to give them. And Phil calls him and says, you need to give every one of them a meteorite. I know they might be expensive. And he asked Phil, well, why is that? And he goes, so that they will realize how small an event this is in the course of the universe, and it will take the stress off of them. He's just odd. He's just peculiar. And I believe he's had a long-running upsetness about the tour taking advantage of players, that the tour makes too much money. And so he wanted to lead a revolt, I believe, following his PGA championship of last year, that he felt he had tremendous power, and he went running out in front, and basically nobody followed.
Kind of like Will Ferrell in the movie.
Oh, running down.
Yeah, in Old School, where he says we're going to go streaking through the quad, and nobody goes with him. Phil tried to go to the Saudi tour, and nobody went with him.
Well, and he did this without regard to the human rights record of these people behind it. It was flawed in so many ways, and I think he can come back and play. It's not like he couldn't play in this event. He was welcomed by the PGA to come and play in this event, and then finally decided not to. Phil is very extroverted, and I think this just stings really, really deeply. I've been around him. I know the guy some, not nearly like his fellow competitors. Tiger comes out and basically talks about this subject this week and goes, I don't feel about the tour the way Phil feels about the tour. That he's grateful. He feels like he's following in the legacy of Arnie and Jack, and the tour has its flaws, but it is a fabulous deal for the guys who are out there. And so there's this loyalty to this. and Phil just, he's wanted to make his mark on everything, and he was going to lead this move away from the tour. And so it is sad in my mind. I don't know that lots of players like Phil. I think there are some that do. They clearly are some guys that like him, but as a group, his beliefs did not reflect the tour's feelings.
So the tour does go on. The championship does go on, minus Phil Mickelson. Obviously, when you tune in to listen to the coverage, you're going to hear the absence of Phil. I don't want to say it's going to dominate the headlines when you watch the coverage, but it will get mentioned ad nauseum. Tiger Woods' appearance will get mentioned. What should we expect from Tiger? We saw him, as expected, run out of gas at the Masters.
I expect better. I expect greater endurance. They're playing a fabulous golf course that has been tremendously renovated and brought back to some of its early design that fit the landscape. They had some creeks that were put underground in pipes, and they added length like you've got to nowadays with the length they're doing hitting the ball. But the golf course is going to be fabulous. Normally the PGA is played in August, and now they've moved it early in the year, so you get golf courses not suffering the heat of the summer. If anybody remembers playing at Southern Hills in August, as they've done in the past, the greens are soft because they just have to be to keep them alive. And you're going to get a firm, fast golf course. It should be a fabulous competition. I expect Tiger, if he's showing up, he thinks he can play. And there was no doubt he could play. Whether he could last was the issue.
Yeah, we saw him run out of gas in the Masters. I mean, that's
a hard walk.
It's a hilly course, and it showed. I mean, his lack of training. I mean, I know he trains hard and he does everything, but still, that leg, you could tell it was not as strong as what it was on day one.
No, and Southern Hills is hilly for Oklahoma, but it's not
Right.
anything like walking Augusta. So I expect a better Tiger. Would not surprise me if he makes the cut and is reasonably competitive. Lord watch us if all of a sudden he's in the top 10 going into Saturday, and it will be an exciting show. I'm interested in seeing Scotty Scheffler. He has really not played a bunch since Augusta, but when he has played, he's played well. This is a very familiar course. I've had clients that played college golf in the Big 12, and frequently the conference championship is held at Southern Hills.
Okay.
Scheffler should be very familiar. He's from Texas. This isn't far away. This should be familiar, comfortable grasses and conditions and wind and heat that he's familiar with. So I'm very interested in that. Jason Day has been trending better. He's up on leaderboards. This is a guy that I just adore, his story and lots of things about him. I'd love to see him come back into the forefront. Brooks Koepka, where has he been? If he's not winning, we think he's playing bad, but he's putting up a lot of good performances. I want to see Koepka. It just, the list goes on and on as to who's going to be competitive. Colin Morikawa has kind of been quiet for a while, and this would be a really good place for him to show up. So I'm watching, thinking we could have numerous storylines. Tiger's going to be a line in the background. Mickelson's going to be a storyline in the background. But ultimately, everybody's going to get interested in the play, in the competition.
Yeah. Well, the play has already started there at Southern Hills. And, oh, my gosh, I wish this would hold true, but I just don't. I see his round blowing up at about halfway point or a little bit after the turn. But if it doesn't, there's going to be a Hooters there in Tulsa that is going to have one heck of a party tonight. John Daly right now is leading the PGA Championship, albeit after 2 holes. He's 1 under after 2 holes. John Daly, there's 3 golfers, Robert McIntyre and Matthew Borchert, at 1 under right now. John Daly he's playing the traditional round 1 through 18. Robert McIntyre is playing the backwards round, where he started his round on 10. He'll finish on 1, but he is 1 under right now. But man, John Daly was just in Alabama this past weekend. He played at the Champions Tour. In fact, I believe in the Pro-Am, he was partnered with Charles Barkley and just decided to call President Trump during the round and start talking Charles. They did that middle of the round there at the Champions Tour. But John Daly did not. He was disqualified at the Champions Tour for not signing his scorecard. I'm wondering if that was planned to where he could get out of there and go to Southern Hills. I don't know. But John Daly right now 1 under.
I had a comment last week of the Pro-Am group, and Dale Murphy was in that group, and somebody commented to Dale, he goes, well, you're the only one without a hangover today. It's crazy.
I had John Daly. I've met John Daly in person twice. Once, my very first PGA event that I covered was the old Hardy's Open. And that was it was in Quincy, Illinois, right across Moline, right there across the Iowa-Illinois border. John Daly was playing in that tournament. That was the first time I'd ever seen John Daly. That was Casey. Remember Casey Martin?
Oh, yes.
Casey Martin was the story that weekend because that was one of the first tournaments where Casey Martin got to ride in a cart for the first time. John Daly walks up to the tee box, and I swear it was just like walking out to a municipal golf course. He has a cigarette in his hand. He puts it down on the tee box, puts his ball on the tee, tees it, whacks it down the middle of the fairway, picks up his cigarette, and keeps on walking. That was John Daly. The second time I met John Daly was at Cherokee Ridge. He had come in for a fundraiser event, and yes, talking to him that morning, the golfers were getting there for a scramble around 10 or 11 in the morning. John Daly got there about 5 minutes before they teed off because he had been out the night before. So, yes, I've seen hungover John Daly, and I've seen golfer John Daly.
Well, there are more stories than I can tell on the radio that I know for a fact, and to say he is colorful is an understatement, and lately his attire matches the color of his life. But it would be funny to see John stay up there. He still hits it long enough to be very competitive on the tour.
He won this event, right?
Yes, he won this event, drinking beer all the way across, all through the final round. He got in as the last person to get in and did not get a practice round and showed up and ends up winning the event and just launched one of the most spectacular careers ever. What most people don't know is he is a fabulous athlete. Obviously, not in the condition you would label as an athlete, but I've been told by close friends of his that, man, he could have been the quarterback on the football team, the guard on the basketball team, just immensely talented in multiple ways. Probably has some of the greatest hands. He can do things with the club face and manipulate the club face in ways that's just remarkable. It would be a great story. Watch for the golf course. It, I think, will get rave reviews.
Yeah. What are the scores? I mean, this is one of those ones where going in, the PGA Championship, it doesn't get played on the same course every year. So we don't really know, a trend. Where do we think we're going to see scores be?
Typically with the PGA, it is not unusual to see 8, 10, 12, 14 under par win. They don't make it a U.S. Open.
Okay.
They don't try to do that. I think the course has been redone enough that you can't look back at the past tournaments that have been there. Plus, they have been there in August when they've played the PGA there. And so you get, back then they had bent grass greens, and to keep them alive in the heat, they had to be soft. So some of those scores are awkward. I haven't heard anybody say anything about what they think the typical score would be, but I would just circle 12 under and go somewhere right around that will be a good score.
All right, so you mentioned Scotty Scheffler. You like him. Who else would you think when it's all done and when it's all done.
Well, Drew's picked up on the fact I like Xander Schauffele, who I think may be the best player in the world without a major championship right now. I don't have any particular love of Schauffele. I just think he's got a really good game and one that's well suited to major championships. He hits it long, he hits it straight, he has good short game.
The better question should be, are we going to see a familiar name atop the board, or is this going to be one of those tournaments where, we go back to the John Daly, where we get a surprise that we could see? Does this tournament set up well for somebody to come out of nowhere and win this one, or is it going to be a familiar face?
I'm thinking we see a first-time major winner.
Okay.
Which the PGA is more known for than anything else. Remember that we have club pros playing in this that have qualified to play in this. Barry Holt, one of our local club pros, had played in multiple PGAs. So don't be surprised to see, at least through a couple of rounds, maybe even 3, that there's a name that is absolutely off the radar that nobody knows except 300 country club members somewhere in the U.S. are cheering greatly for him. So it would not surprise me to see a club pro up in the top 10, but I'm thinking we may see a fresh name win a major championship.
All right, he is Charles Plott from Plott Performance in studio with us, helping us break down the PGA Championship that has started already in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Charlie, good things happening at Plott Performance.
Oh, my goodness. Just covered over with more athletes than we've ever had to work with. We have the golfers like crazy. We've had some local kids just perform wonderfully. We've got folks all over the country that I'm working with. We're bringing on additional consultants because it's too much for me to handle. I had 4 distance runners in the last 2 months, and I normally don't get a bunch of runners. And I met with somebody that's wanting to come on and help me with running. We're growing. We're going to be offering some great things in the very near future. We're going to be offering our profile for free for a short period of time. I'll try to make sure folks know about that. You know about it when it's going to be offered. So lots of exciting things going on with Plott Performance. And then, of course, we got our crazy bass fishing side of the business that is just that's so cool. I get calls, and it's like, man, I need to come through there and us work, so that means I get to go fishing. It's a tough life. I mean, to get paid to go fish with a professional bass fisherman.
I thought we had it rough by saying on Monday that we just didn't want to do a show on Friday. Charlie just gets to go fishing because, he just gets to go fishing.
I mean, it's awful, Scott. You sweat a little bit and have to put sunscreen on, and my dermatologist is making me wear a floppy hat. I mean, it is awful.
What do you mean making you wear one? You have a choice. You can ignore said advice.
I can, but
you don't want to.
I don't want to.
All right, hey, thanks, Charlie Plott, for sticking in with us. By the way, in case you are wondering, 8-11, Tiger Woods tees off on his first round this morning. So Tiger will be playing a morning round Thursday, an afternoon round on Friday. Any advantage or disadvantage in Tulsa playing morning, afternoon?
A lot of guys, especially if the weather is good, they like afternoon, morning. They'd rather go late early, and I never felt this way as a golfer, but they feel like you get in a rhythm and you just wake up and get back in a rhythm. And so a lot of people like late early, especially if the weather is good.
All right, Charles Plott Performance, and helping us do round 1 of the PGA Championship. We'll talk more golf, and guess what? Nick Saban when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
At 3 different wreck reports, we got Drake and Lehman Ferry, then we got Johnson and Lehman Ferry, and we got Johnson and Pump Street. I think they're all going to be the same accident. I think it's actually at Johnson Road and Lehman Ferry. Reported with injuries. Just got one on 72 west of Wall Tryon. I'm thinking it's going to be a no injury. No mask, no hose. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. 350-CARE. Captain Egg in the North Parkway, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Did you know that your car, truck, or SUV may be worth over 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we'd love your trade-in for a personalized custom factory order on a 2022 Explorer, Expedition, Ranger, or F-150. You'll get exactly the color and options you want, and Woody Anderson Ford will save you 5% off MSRP, plus you'll get any additional Ford factory rebates. Or if you need a new ride today, choose a Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicle. We have over 100 to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with our 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. At Woody Anderson Ford, whether it's a new order or a pre-owned, we promise to always do the right thing. Corner of George and Sparkman, hope to see you soon.
Nothing feels more like summer than bare feet on freshly cut grass. And this Memorial Day, the Home Depot has savings on all the things you need to get your lawn in shoeless shape. Get hassle-free cutting, trimming, and cleaning power with cordless lawn tools from Ryobi. Whatever your lawn needs, we have tools to get the job done that won't leave you tangled up. So what are you waiting for? It's time to feel the grass between your toes. Feels like Memorial Day at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead ran away and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Tuesday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temp climbing consistently into the low and mid-90s across all of North Alabama, southern, middle Tennessee. An isolated shower is going to be possible as we head into the heart of the afternoon, early into the evening. Most of us probably going to end up staying dry. Temperatures only drop into the upper 60s and lower 70s as we head into the overnight. Much the same for your Friday afternoon. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-90s. An isolated shower, again, going to be possible. Most of us are going to be dry. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Okay, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. 7:51 on a Thursday morning. Big thank you to Charles Plott from Plott Performance coming in studio to break down the PGA Championship. That was good stuff there on the PGA Championship on what to expect. And we've got TVs on here in the studio. And I kid you not, Chad, I kid you not. Right now on ESPN, Paul Feinbaum, they are breaking down Nick Saban's comments. That is on our top TV. On the bottom TV, we've got CBS Mornings, what to watch. Nick Saban sounds off on athlete pay is on CBS Mornings right now.
You can't get away from it.
Folks, if you do not think, and Charles Plott on his way out the door just said this, folks, what Nick Saban did was all calculated. Do you believe that? Do you think what Nick Saban did, the timing of everything that goes on, Nick Saban does not do something unless he's just not going to come out there and sound off on something just because.
Yeah.
Nick Saban warned everybody back in the day, hey, look, if you want the one-time transfer rule, great, go for it, but the rich are going to get richer. Yes, he's speaking out about Alabama, but he's also speaking about other schools.
Yeah.
Nick Saban warned everybody about other things. How much of this do you think was calculated for what Nick Saban meant to do because nobody was doing anything about stuff? Do you think things are going to get done now? Do you think there's going to be an urgency to get things done because of what Nick Saban just said last night?
Possibly. I mean, but I feel like a lot of times when he talks about this kind of thing or he says something that's going to happen, it ends up happening and then it's too late because it seems like the NCAA is always late to the party and everything.
Somebody is going to say something. Deion Sanders 41 minutes ago said, trust starts with self. It's extremely hard to trust someone when you don't trust yourself. What are you saying? If you had that same opportunity, you would do wrong. Therefore, you must build trust in you and trust God. Then you trust of others would register stronger than ever. I don't know if that's a shade message or what, but Deion Sanders 6 hours ago saying, I will be addressing the lies that were told by Coach Saban soon.
The build-up. We're just waiting for the release.
I don't understand why it's taking him so long to address it.
Just go ahead and say it. Just go ahead and say it. What are you hiding? What are you building up? What are you?
Why
are you finding
having-
facts? Is this the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial? I mean, where we're just constantly finding more evidence of BS. I mean, like, what is going on? Like, I'm just, I get it. I get it. You want to take what Nick Saban is saying and you want to believe it. And I get it. As an Alabama fan, you want to defend him. But we don't know. We honestly don't know, and it's gonna be funny when it all comes out, and if it all looks bad, and that's why we love college football, I guess, is for the drama.
We've got more Nick Saban quotes and sound bites to play. I don't want to play him now because we are up against getting close to being the end of hour number one. But we do have more Nick Saban. Now, we want to get your thoughts, though, 256-576-4977. As you're making your way into work or wherever you're headed out on this Thursday morning, your thoughts on what Nick Saban had to say. If you were a college football coach, would you have done that? Would you have sat there and mentioned specific schools by name?
I don't think any other college coach could.
That's a better question. That is a good point. That is a better question.
I don't think anybody's going to
Dabo
listen.
Swinney was sitting in that chair, could Dabo Swinney mention Texas A&M?
He'd probably get laughed at.
Does he have the power to do so? Does Kirby Smart have the college football power to say what Nick Saban said? Is Nick Saban the only college football coach in America that can sit here and say what he says? And I don't want to say it's okay, but is Nick Saban the only college football coach in America that could and did what he did and be okay. Now, I'm not saying okay as in that's fine, but I'm saying is Nick Saban the only one? If is he it?
I think he's the only one that people pay attention to and believe in. Like, obviously, we're sitting here talking about it. We'll have a debate about it. We'll have literally three different TV shows right now talking about it. Three different channels talking about it right now.
Not just sports channels talking about it. We're talking.
If it was Dabo Swinney and all the other coaches, no, I don't think so. I think the only way that it would be if it was like Jimbo Fisher of the world or whatever, if he was trying to, obviously his response. Or,
But if Dabo Swinney called out Texas A&M, if Kirby Smart called out Texas A&M, would it get the attention?
I think Kirby Smart would, just based off winning last year and maybe getting that recognition. But I think when people listen to Dabo Swinney, a lot of people just see it as complaining. Because with Dabo Swinney, it's just like, yeah, at the end of the day, Dabo Swinney's making a lot of sense, but it's always like, well, why aren't you doing it? You know what I mean? It's like, well, why can't you take advantage of it? You're Clemson. You're Dabo Swinney. You should be able to do it.
All right, Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Will, and Max, they weighed in on Nick Saban's comments. We'll let you know what they had to say. Plus, we'll hear from Nick Saban again. We still got more Nick Saban comments to get to. We want your comments to kick off hour 2, 256-576-4977.
Did you know that your car, truck, or SUV may be worth over 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we'd love your trade-in for a personalized custom factory order on a 2022 Explorer, Expedition, Ranger, or F-150. You'll get exactly the color and options you want, and Woody Anderson Ford will save you 5% off MSRP, plus you'll get any additional Ford factory rebates. Or if you need a new ride today, choose a Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicle. We have over 100 to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with our 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. At Woody Anderson Ford, whether it's a new order or a pre-owned, we promise to always do the right thing. Corner of George and Sparkman, hope to see you soon.
The world champs are back. The Braves are out to defend their world championship. And behind Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, Dansby Swanson, Max Fried, and this loaded 2022 roster, a repeat is within reach.
There goes Ozzie, 2-2 on the way, hit well. Deep center field. Might have ourselves a tie ball game. You betcha.
And we'll bring you every huge moment of the Braves 2022 season right here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
At 3 different wreck reports, we got Drake and Lehman Ferry, then we got Johnson and Lehman Ferry, and we got Johnson and Pump Street. I think they're all going to be the same accident. I think it's actually at Johnson Road and Lehman Ferry. Reported with injuries. Just got one on 72 west of Wall Tryon. I'm thinking it's going to be a no injury. No mask, no hose. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. 350-CARE. Captain Egg in the North Parkway, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temp climbing consistently into the low and mid-90s across all of North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. An isolated shower is going to be possible as we head into the heart of the afternoon, early into the evening. Most of us probably going to end up staying dry. Temperatures only drop into the upper 60s and lower 70s as we head into the overnight. Much the same for your Friday afternoon. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-90s. An isolated shower, again, going to be possible. Most of us are going to be dry. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
The PGA Championship underway today at Southern Hills in Tulsa. Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, and Jordan Spieth all paired together for the first 2 rounds. Scotty Scheffler, the Masters champion, at 11-1, along with Jon Rahm. McIlroy and Justin Thomas each at 14-1. Colin Morikawa 16-1. Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. The Miami Heat leading 1-0 after a 118-107 win in Game 1 over the Celtics. The Heat a 4-point favorite at home tonight. The total set at 207.5. NBA playoffs Game 2 in the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. Miami leading the Celtics 1-0. They're a 4-point favorite at home tonight. The total set at 207.5.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson with you. Chad Gwathney stepping up, filling in. Drew DeArmond still out with us. Still out away from us. And I wish he was here. I texted him a little bit ago and said, man, I wish you were here for this one. And that is simply because of what Nick Saban had to say yesterday. It's fun going through Twitter and reading people's comments from what Nick Saban had to say. A couple people out there. I mean, it's so fun. I mean, it's trending. I mean, this is trending across the country. One guy saying, I'm guessing Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher aren't having coffee together this morning. Another person on Twitter saying, from 2018 to 2021, Texas A&M only signed five five-star recruits. NIL was introduced, and they signed 7 5-stars in the 2022 class. Nick Saban isn't complaining. He's just calling a spade, and that's totally fine. Another person. So far, Nick Saban has gone off on Texas A&M, Jackson State, and Miami in one night. He on his 98 Tupac. Yeah. Can't read the rest of that one, but, you know. I'm just kind of going through reading some of these Nick Saban comments. I mean, people all around. Someone pointing out that Will Anderson didn't do an NIL deal last year, and he was the best defensive player in college football. He didn't want to be distracted. He was focused on the process of winning. He's easily worth 7 figures of NIL deals. Nick Saban not done. We're going to play some more Nick Saban, but Keyshawn Johnson weighing in on this morning. Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Max. You can hear them leading into Talking Ball each day here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Chad, listen to Keyshawn Johnson. This is how he rationalized what Nick Saban had to say.
Here's the deal. It's just legalized now to do it a certain way. That's why the NC2A has run to Congress and trying to figure all of it out to get some help on trying to, bring it to a point where they can even get involved in it now because it's getting out of control. Alabama, right now, as it's legal, Jay, they've got to step up with the cash drawer. That's all it is. Because when you look at the top programs around the country, as far as money goes, you got Alabama, USC, Texas A&M, Ohio State. They're going to participate in the NILs, period. And then there's other teams as well, the Oklahomas and some of those teams, other SEC schools. Nick Saban has got to go to his boosters or whoever and try and figure out how to go from spending $2 million to spending $10 million.
Oh.
Just to shovel more money at kids that haven't played it down for the university to come play at the university.
But that's totally what Nick Saban was not talking about. Nick Saban was saying that is not what Alabama is going to do.
Yeah. It's like,
He's
obviously
not
you saw the deals, you saw the ways that they did it the year before, and it's just like, how do you not see that? And then you blatantly can see it in front of you. It's right in front of you. It's there. Obviously, whether it was legal or not, it's right there. You can see it, and he's just calling it out.
So Nick Saban, as I mentioned, we have more Nick Saban comments to play. And here's another one from Nick Saban.
In recruiting, we have players in our state that grew up wanting to come to Alabama, that they won't commit to us unless we say we're going to give them what somebody else is going to give them. And my theory on that is everything that we've done in college athletics has always been equal. Your scholarship is equal. They get equal Alston money. They get equal cost of attendance. They get equal academic support. They get equal medical attention. Everything has always been equal.
That's Nick Saban. They're talking about how everything has always been equal. And he's right. And that's what Nick Saban has been an advocate for, is that let's keep it all equal. But then Nick Saban talked about boosters, talked about guys that, hey, going to step up and pay a player to come to said school. This is pretty funny.
So I told our players, I said, we're going to have a collective, but everybody's going to get the same amount of opportunity from that collective. Now, you can go earn however much you want. And I tell the recruits the same thing, because our job is not to buy you to come to school here. And I don't know how you manage your locker room, and I don't know if this is a sustainable model, because one of you folks are going to give some player that comes to our school a bunch of money to come to our school. And then you're going to come to the game in full strut, thinking, I'm going to tell everybody I got that guy to come to Alabama. And then he's not going to play, and he's going to transfer, and you're going to say, I'm never going to do this again. All right, so I don't know how it works. I don't know how you sustain a model like that. Now, I know that we're going to lose recruits because somebody else is going to be willing to pay them more. But name, image, and likeness is something that's here. And I think the more supporters that we have for the University of Alabama in all sports, that are willing to sponsor players, whatever you want to call it, use them in your business to help your business, that's going to help our programs.
He makes sense. I mean, he really does. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like if you're a booster with a lot of money and you're like, I got this guy a Lamborghini or whatever to come to Alabama, Challenger, whatever, because a lot of them have Challengers around Tuscaloosa, I've seen. Whatever. It's like, yeah, and then he doesn't play well or he transfers, he doesn't like it or whatever.
You're not going to do that again.
Yeah, like are you gonna give another kid a car based on hypothetical? Or are you gonna want, are these businesses that come out and support kids, that come out and support programs, you know what I mean, for their advertisement and promotion of their business? Do you think their business tied in with an Ajay Hall who is scrubbing his social media account of Texas and all this other stuff and leaving Alabama and being a nuisance in the locker room and being an issue in the locker room with coaches, just like the movies Any Given Sunday and professional sports are like, where you get into a locker room full of hotheads that think that they're bigger than the coach because they make more money than the coach does.
And Nick Saban did talk about how much money Alabama players made last year. Here's Coach talking about Alabama.
And so you create opportunities for yourself. And our players last year created $3 million worth of opportunity for themselves by doing it the right way. And I have no problem with that. And nobody had a problem on our team with that because the guys that got the money earned it. Now, there were only 25 guys on our team that had the opportunity to earn money. The issue and the problem with name, image, and likeness is coaches trying to create an advantage for themselves went out and said, okay, how could we use this to our advantage? They created what's called a collective. A collective is an outside marketing agency that's not tied to the university, that's funded by alumni from the university. And they give this collective millions of dollars. And that marketing agency then funnels it to the players. And the coach actually knows how much money's in the collective, so he knows how much he can promise every player. That's not what name, image, and likeness was supposed to be. That's what it's become, and that's the problem in college athletics right now.
All right. So here's the one thing, and I know I don't know if we've applauded Nick Saban for calling out Texas A&M, Miami, Jackson State. I don't know if we applaud that or if we say he's the only coach in college football that can get away with saying that. But what Nick Saban just said there was the fact that collectives are set up outside of the university. They're set up by basically boosters. Well, guess what? Alabama has their collective. Alabama has a collective now because they wanted to compete with everybody else. So I guarantee you what's going to happen is now everybody that Nick Saban ran over is going to say, well, guess what? Alabama has a collective. Are you telling me that Alabama is not doing the exact same thing that we're doing? Paying players to, once they get on campus, I think is what's separating some schools from others. Alabama's not paying players to come to said school before they get there, I don't think. If Drew was here, he would tell me definitely not. But you're going to look around and see how many schools have collectives now. And it's going to make you question how well or how good or how much these collectives are involved. So what are you going to assume now? If you see a school that has a collective, are you automatically assuming they're buying players before they get to campus or they're buying all their players? Is that what we're supposed to assume now, though, when we see the word collective? Is collective a bad word now in college football?
Well, I mean, Alabama came out with, what was it, the Crimson Tide Foundation, so that's to enhance everything that's going on.
Well, they have a collective.
Athletically.
Yes, they have a collective.
So
Alabama has a collective.
I see a university that made right by using that money in the most positive way possible. That's why you have other facilities for other sports. When we were talking about yesterday.
Yes, but my point is, though, the word collective.
Yeah.
Are we looking at the word collective now as a bad thing in college football? Because Texas A&M's collective is what got their players to come there and sign. Alabama has a collective. USC has a collective. Texas has a collective.
I think how it's been used.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Are we trending now when we hear the word collective, are we thinking collective now as a bad thing in college football because of certain schools doing the collective thing the wrong way?
I don't know. I guess if it starts working, and then if you can clearly tell that that's the reason why that they're sustaining success is by constantly paying players to come to the school and do this, because it's like in Major League Baseball where there's absolutely no salary cap, and you have the top market teams that are able to spend crazy amounts of money on certain athletes. So I think it's just one of those things where, at the end of the day, I guess if it's hurting college football, yes, but if it's doing right by, the collective, where at the end of the day they get some sort of money at the end of the year when they graduate or whatever, because like Nick Saban said, only 25 guys even made money.
Right.
What are the other guys what are the other guys making? Like, you're getting in another Milo, they're getting an extra Milo's tea, or they're getting, or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, it just doesn't, at the end of the day, it's like, I get what Nick Saban's trying to say, but when you're honestly bringing players in to your university by just throwing money at them and then bullface lying about it. I mean, it just looks bad.
So you wonder now I wonder how many of these coaches, Jimbo Fisher, Texas A&M.
Well, we're on hour
Deion
number 6.
Sanders.
We're on hour number 6, and there's a video on Twitter, so we're still waiting on Deion's response.
But no,
you know,
I'm wondering people. Did Nick Saban open himself up to having people dig into what they've done in the past to try to get kids? I'm wondering how people are going to react to this. I'm wondering the negative spin, because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're wondering if Nick Saban has created a risk. And I'm going to ask this question, and I could be way off. But has Nick Saban created a risk to put all of the dirt that he's done in the past to the forefront?
So how come all these other assistant coaches aren't coming out and saying the same thing about Nick Saban? Because all these guys have jobs because of Nick Saban. All these guys are, big-time college football coaches because they've coached under Nick Saban. They've all been around it before because of Nick Saban. And yet you have, 2 examples that Nick Saban called out, and then now we're just waiting on the response of that. Because, where's Mel Tucker? Obviously Jimbo hasn't said anything yet, but he's probably going to end up addressing it. You know what I mean? Why hasn't Kirby said anything? Why hasn't anybody else said anything about this whole situation? So is that just going to open up a bigger, issue but with them? It's like, and then we're starting investigating on how Georgia got half that defensive unit last year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm wondering, though. I just wonder what is going to happen going forward. I'm wondering if somebody is going to try to dig up something on Alabama because Nick Saban called out. I don't know the coach's protocol, not Nick Saban's protocol. I don't know the coach's code. I don't know. Did Nick Saban?
It's called money.
Did Nick Saban cross the line?
Yeah.
I guess that's the best question. Did Nick Saban cross the line yesterday by calling out Texas A&M and Jackson State and Miami? We read things. Yes, we know us sitting here reading things and discussing, the booster in Miami paying the player from Kansas State whatever, X amount of dollars to come to the school. We read that. Yeah. That was out there. It's different for us to read that, talk about it, and everything going forward. But, did Nick Saban cross a coach's code by specifically calling out Texas A&M, Miami, Jackson State? Did he cross how certain avenues, you have that unwritten rule of wherever it is. Did he cross that unwritten rule line last night by saying what he said?
If he feels the way that coaches aren't doing what they were hired to do and they're doing it the wrong way, then I don't think so.
Behind closed doors.
Yeah.
If I was Nick Saban, you and I are having a discussion, yes. Oh, well, Texas A&M's buying it. You're having that discussion.
Yeah.
But to publicly come out and say what he said, did he cross a coach's code line?
How's it any different than saying it behind someone's back and then waiting for all this to kind of build up, and then all of a sudden it comes out like a bombshell and it's a lot bigger than it really is, where it's like, did Alabama allegedly do this or whatever? Now it's all in front of us. Now they're going to be able to investigate it. Now they're going to be able to talk about it, and then it'll all come out.
It's 8:21. You know what? When I booked this guest, we were just going to talk. Maybe we're going to get Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson's going to come on to talk Ole Miss, because Ole Miss picked up a couple guys out of the transfer portal. Lane King has identified himself as the transfer portal king, that being Lane Kiffin. We'll talk about that and everything going on Ole Miss, baseball, football-wise, a lot to get to with the Rebels, and maybe we'll get Mike Johnson's thoughts on Texas A&M.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
At 3 different wreck reports, we got Drake and Lehman Ferry, then we got Johnson and Lehman Ferry, and we got Johnson and Pump Street. I think they're all going to be the same accident. I think it's actually at Johnson Road and Lehman Ferry. Reported with injuries. Just got one on 72 west of Wall Triana. I'm thinking it's going to be a no injury. No mask, no hose. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Tuesday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Alabama A&M University football. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com and view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see ya in the Kia. Go Bulldogs!
Greeny with Mike Greenberg.
This is Mike Greenberg. Be sure and download the app today. Just search for 97.7 ESPN and listen to my show every weekday right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up at noon today. Now, back to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Time for us to switch gears. This whole morning has been dedicated to Nick Saban and his comments, because he just flat out gave us so much to talk about this morning with Alabama football. You know, he called out Texas A&M. He called out Jackson State. Called out pretty much everybody. But we're going to hit the pause button on that a little bit. David Johnson covers the Ole Miss Rebels for 24/7 Sports and CBS Sports. Member of the Football Writers America Association. Going to join us because the Ole Miss Rebels have been busy in the transfer portal this offseason and just kind of getting a lay of the land, so to speak, on the Ole Miss situation. And David Johnson, kind enough to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline this morning. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, guys.
How are we doing today? Man, I tell you what, I'm sure you are just like everybody else now that covers college football, has paid attention to college football, and any kind of aspect, waking up to hearing Nick Saban's comments yesterday.
Yeah, no doubt. But you know, you've got to have a certain amount of appreciation for Nick because you know, he's reached this status in life. He can say what he wants to say without fear of repercussion, and you know, I hope he keeps it up.
All right, so a lot going on there, but a lot going on with the Ole Miss Rebels on the football side and on the baseball side as well. First of all, I mean, let's just mention baseball real fast. It is their final SEC series of the weekend. A lot at stake for the Rebels.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it's been a, you know, a rather disappointing season for Ole Miss. Just, you know, you have a team that earlier in the year is ranked number 1 in the country for a couple of weeks, and the bottom fell out. They have really had to scramble and make a late run just to get back into the postseason conversation. You know, certainly looks like they're going to be in Hoover next week. They're going to make that. And as of right now, looks like they're going to get an NCAA tournament bid. But, you know, Texas A&M comes to Oxford this weekend. The series actually begins tonight. And, you know, that's going to factor into everything as well. Ole Miss needs to win a game in this series, I think, and probably win a game in Hoover to ensure that they're going to be in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. Texas A&M playing some really good baseball down the stretch. The Aggies have come a long way, and the Aggies have a lot to play for themselves. I mean, they're trying to win the SEC West. So, I mean, a lot. I mean, a lot of intrigue in that final SEC series.
Yeah, high drama for sure.
Well, let's go back to the football side for the Ole Miss Rebels. Lane Kiffin, very busy in the transfer portal this offseason. First of all, we started at the quarterback spot, got himself a quarterback out of the transfer portal, Jackson Dart from USC. But he hasn't stopped there. Very busy kind of transforming this Ole Miss roster.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, they have what is right now ranked as the number 2 transfer portal class in the country, was ranked number 1 at you know, at a certain time. But Jackson Dart, you know, a lot of talk about him and, you know, what he's going to be like coming into this program. So we were really excited to watch him throughout spring ball, and you know, kind of with the impression that he would kind of take this Ole Miss quarterback job and start running away with it, and that did not happen. You know, I think if Lane Kiffin had to start somebody at the end of spring, he probably would have started the sophomore Luke Altmaier. And Jackson Dart is still kind of swimming in this offense a little bit. He's pressing himself. He's making wrong decisions when under pressure. And all those things are going to have to be rectified by September the 3rd when Ole Miss kicks off against Troy, or Jackson Dart's not going to be the starting quarterback here. Now, that's not saying it can't be rectified, because I believe it can.
Yeah.
And to be, you know, totally fair to Jackson, I mean, he'd been here, 30, 45 days before spring ball started to try to start soaking in what Lane Kiffin wanted of him. So obviously he's not going to look like the more polished guy during spring ball. But, you know, that quarterback race, bottom line, it's still open. and will be open when fall camp begins.
How much different will this offense look? Jeff Lebby, not the offensive coordinator. Charlie Weiss Jr. is. How much different will this offense look from last year at Ole Miss? I know we got different players, so it'll look a little different, but scheme-wise, how different do you think it'll look?
Yeah, not very much at all. I mean, what I think people fail to remember, look, Jeff Lebby was a great coordinator, but he was calling Lane Kiffin's offense. This is Lane Kiffin's offense, and it will be again this year, even with Charlie Weiss Jr. in town. But, Lane always maintains veto power over anything called. And, I don't think you're going to see that much difference. There are going to be a few twists and things like that designed specifically for current personnel. But, you're basically going to see the same offense again. They're going to run it a little more than they're going to pass it. And I would think their running percentage will actually raise a little bit this year. They did great in the portal as well, getting back to the portal by getting former 5-star prospect Zach Evans in here.
That was my next question. That's a huge piece. I mean, some people are saying that he has the talent to be the best running back in the SEC this fall.
Yeah, 100%. I don't disagree with that. I mean, this is a kid that can run over you. He's also a stop and stutter and make you miss kind of kid. He's got great straight line speed, on the back end of a defense. I'm looking forward to seeing him run. And I think on some of those 3rd and 5s this year where you knew they were going to throw it last season, I think they may have Zach the Rock and let him get the 5 yards.
Is there anybody else that you're seeing through the transfer portal? I mean, they have the number 2 class. Is there some other names in there that should give Rebels fans a little bit of excitement?
Yeah, 100%. Back in January, going back to Jackson Dart, it was Jackson Dart maybe coming from USC. And, oh, by the way, this freshman tight end, Michael Trigg, may be coming with him. I'm going to make a prediction here. Michael Trigg is going to take the top off SEC defenses all year long from his tight end position.
Wow.
This kid is incredible. He is a monster. He had a spring that was out of this world. I've talked to Lane about Trigg, and he says, look, I was trying to explain Michael Trigg to my son, and it's almost like when you see like a kid who's a senior in high school playing middle school ball and just kind of man amongst boys kind of deal. That was Lane Kiffin's impression of Michael Trigg. My jaw just simply dropped every time I saw him run a route and catch a football. This kid is incredible. I saw a list of top 50 tight ends in college football maybe a day or two ago. I forget who put it out, but Michael Trigg wasn't on there. And I mean, that's a travesty. Michael Trigg will be the best tight end in the SEC this year. I'll take that to the bank. And it matters not if Jackson Dart or Luke Altmaier happens to be the kid throwing the football to him. This guy is incredible.
A lot of attention on this Ole Miss offense, and rightfully so, that they have a lot of talent coming in, a lot of new talent that they're going to have to mesh together. But it seems like every year that the question is, and I know it showed great signs of improvement last year, but they lose a coordinator on the defensive side. This defensive side of the ball, is it going to continue to take that next step to be among some of the better defenses in the SEC? It took a huge step last year because it couldn't get any worse than it was 2 years ago. Is it going to continue to take that next step?
Yeah, I think there are two big questions that we just don't know the answer to right now with that defense. And, one is the guy they took the big step under last year, DJ Durkin, will be calling Jimbo Fisher's defenses out in College Station this year. So new coordinator in town with Chris Partridge. Chris was on that staff, knows this defense extremely well. I think he's got a tenacity to want to gamble a little bit more than what Durkin did. And, that's feast or famine sometimes, but we'll see about that. And the other question mark is, can they get a little bit more help in here at linebacker right now? They lost a lot of talent at linebacker last year, and they're in the portal right now. Just offered the post-grad transfer kid from James Madison, but so is pretty much everybody else in the SEC right now. And if they can get a little more help in at linebacker, they're extremely deep on the defensive front. I mean, they're going to play 9, 10, 11 kids up there this year. A big-time transfer on the defensive line. They got J.J. Peakies from Auburn. J.J. is an Oxford kid that left town, went to Auburn. Things didn't work out there for him. They were about to. Auburn hated to lose him, but J.J. came home, and he's probably going to be the starting nose tackle for the Rebs this year. Part of the depth that they've created up front. And there's also really good depth and pretty good talent in the secondary on the back end of this defense. So can they be better? Absolutely, they can be better. But, the Ole Miss offense is going to be playing without Matt Corral. And you look back last year, and you have to ask yourself, how many games did Matt Corral win for Ole Miss last year in that 10-3 season? And I mean, yeah, it's debatable, but I'd say 4 or 5. Without Matt Corral, Ole Miss doesn't win 4 or 5 of those 10 games they won last year. We saw how the absence of Matt Corral affected that offense in the All-State Sugar Bowl against Baylor. So, the quarterback play is not going to be at that level this year, no matter what, no matter who's out there starting. So the defense had best be a little bit better because, even with all the talent and all the other positions on offense, quarterback, he kind of makes the grass grow. And I'm expecting Ole Miss to take a step back in the quarterback department. I'm not like all these national guys that are beating the Jackson Dart drum right now.
Right.
Because I've watched him. I watched him with my own eyes over spring ball. He's a kid with an incredible arm that is going to eventually be an incredible quarterback. I just don't know if it will be this fall.
Well, Ole Miss also trying to build for the future. While Jackson Dart may or may not be the quarterback, they're also trying to build for the future. Recruiting-wise, they are in on Jaden Rashada, right? The 5-star quarterback out of Pittsburgh.
100%. I think that, if you want to know how intent Ole Miss is on getting Jaden Rashada to Oxford, they offered his brother last week. They offered his high school wide receiver last week as well. They're not the only ones that have done that, but they're saying, hey, Jaden, come on, bring the crew with you. We've got scholarships for everybody. I think the 2 front runners right now for Jaden Rashada are Miami and Ole Miss, but he's going to take an official visit to Florida, I believe, this weekend. And I got to be honest with you, in this day and age of name, image, and likeness,
David, we got you. We've lost David right in the middle of talking about Ole Miss trying to get the 5-star quarterback out of Pittsburgh. And I believe Rashada has set his date, his announcement date, for Tuesday. So we'll see how that plays out. But I believe we've got David Johnson back on the phone lines with us right now. Let's go back out there. David, you were talking about this day in name, image, and likeness when it comes to getting Rashada.
Yeah, the bottom line is you just don't know what is necessarily going on those end of things. And there are things going on. I don't care, there are things going on. So, you don't know how all that's going to balance. I mean, maybe at 10 o'clock on the day you're going to commit, you got a $200,000 NIL somewhere, and, between 10 and 2, when you're going to make the call, somebody's bumped it up to 300. And that gives you some pause to think about things.
We know Lane Kiffin's active in the transfer portal. The rest of the recruiting, how is the rest of the recruiting going for the Rebels?
Yeah, I think very, very deliberate. I mean, they're taking their time. They're being very careful, particularly with high school kids, simply because I think that, I know that Ole Miss wants to have 10, 12, 15 portal spots available again come December and January when this thing heats back up all over again. So, that makes you go, okay, well, how many high school kids are they actually going to bring in? So, and I think that number is 10 to 12 as well.
Wow.
That's how it's going to be, from here on out, at least here under Lane Kiffin. He likes to have those spots available for portal players. And who can blame him? I mean, you bring in a high school kid now, and it's different when you're talking about a school like Alabama where a kid may be willing to wait 2, even 3 years to get a shot, to get on the field. May not happen at a school like Ole Miss. And, you've got to be able to move the portal and get that top talent in here. And, with a high school kid, you've got to convince him he's doing the best thing, sitting here waiting a couple of years before he gets on the field and re-recruit your entire roster at the end of every season. So I think Lane's taken the right approach. Ole Miss, if Ole Miss is going to run with Alabama and run with Texas A&M, they're going to have to do it through the transfer portal, and I think that's what you're seeing Lane Kiffin do.
All right. Well, Ole Miss, really, was a great success last year. I would assume the expectation is for the Rebels again to be in that upper half of the SEC West come this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say I think that this Ole Miss football team could be maybe the most talented top to bottom that I've ever seen here.
Wow.
But the question mark is quarterback. Every team that's going to win a whole lot of games has got to have a really, really good quarterback. And that's, again, I know what all the national heads are saying. Jackson Dart's going to come in. I even saw Heisman odds on Jackson Dart the other day, which I could not believe. But, I think this kid has got a great arm. He's going to eventually be a great college quarterback, but it's a race against time with him right now. And I just don't know if he gets there by the fall. He might. I certainly hope he does. But, I guess that's why we pay attention. It's such an intriguing and interesting game.
All right. Well, David, great work. Great stuff this morning. Let everybody know where they can read the rest and find your work on the Rebels.
Yeah, follow us on the 24/7 Sports Network, Inside the Rebels, and follow me on Twitter at Rebels247. Love to have you.
All right. Thanks, David.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. David Johnson, that's some good stuff right there. Telling us that he believes that the Ole Miss Rebels have the most talent that he's ever seen in Oxford. Question is, who's going to be the quarterback? And Jackson Dart, in his eyes, not getting this offense right now, swimming in this offense still. Not. You know what, though? That's kind of interesting because guess where Jackson Dart came from? USC. What other quarterback that was supposed to be the most heralded quarterback coming out of USC, supposed to win the Heisman, take his team to the next level? It's a guy from Georgia, a guy that never played at Georgia.
Oh, Bennett?
Not Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett played.
Not Bennett. I can't even think.
Yeah,
off the top of my head.
That's just how impressive he was.
But I think that's great for Ole Miss, though. That you don't know what your quarterback's looking like, but you got two transfers, and Zach Evans from TCU, and then Ulysses Bentley from SMU.
Yep.
Two good running backs to come in and play in that Lane Kiffin offense.
Lane Kiffin called himself the transfer portal king.
Yeah.
He loaded up. All right, we got to get that final break in. We got tomorrow's headlines today, and Paul Feinbaum weighs in on Nick Saban. We'll hear from Paul, and we've got a couple headlines to get to.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Just got a wreck on Governors. Sounds like this one's westbound at Montesano Boulevard. No report of injury. Getting one in on Jeff Road in the 100 block. I don't have an injury report on that one yet. 53 southbound at Douglas, no injury reported. Westbound 565 at Sparkman's, a no injury. 72 west of Wall Triana got updated to an injury type. Johnson Road and Lehman Ferry also reports injuries. Snelling has a remote position for an accounting specialist with strong billing and accounts receivable experience. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
The Braves are back, and they're on a mission to defend the East, defend the National League pennant, and defend their world title.
Line drive, that is through. It gets through. Here comes Dansby, and the Braves walk it off. This is unbelievable.
Tomorrow night, it's another big NLE series from South Florida as the Braves roll into Marlins Ballpark to take on Miami. Braves Radio goes on the air at 5:25 Eastern, 4:25 Central on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com. What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Nothing feels more like summer than bare feet on freshly cut grass. And this Memorial Day, the Home Depot has savings on all the things you need to get your lawn in shoeless shape. Get hassle-free cutting, trimming, and cleaning power with cordless lawn tools from Ryobi. Whatever your lawn needs, we have tools to get the job done that won't leave you tangled up. So what are you waiting for? It's time to feel the grass between your toes. Feels like Memorial Day at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
And now a small business setback, as assessed by a beloved family pediatrician.
Oh, hey, Tiger. Big scary tree branch give your work truck a boo-boo? Yeah. Wow. See this thing on my phone here? It's the Progressive mobile app. Just push that little button there and report your claim. Attaboy.
When owning a small business gets painful, Progressive Commercial is here to make it all better. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
What's this? Candy drawer? Who wants a lollipop?
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions. Photo claims not available in all states or situations.
Outdoor season is coming. Can't wait.
Here at Brooks & Collier, neither can we. Outdoor season is also grilling season.
And we have plenty of grills and smokers in stock. From Traeger, Blaze, and Big Green Egg.
There's the greenhouse. New indoor items and home furnishings as well.
Whatever it takes. Browse over 2 acres of furnishings. Can't wait.
How about you? North Alabama's indoor and outdoor living headquarters for over 75 years.
813 Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And we've kind of been playing snippets of Nick Saban all morning long, and reaction is coming in from all over the country. We've played Keyshawn Johnson's comments basically saying Alabama needs to step up. They need to start paying more, that kind of stuff. Paul Feinbaum weighed in this morning as well on Nick Saban's comments. Here's Paul Feinbaum and his reaction to Nick Saban.
I think he's very worried. Let's remember a couple of things. He lost to Jimbo Fisher last year in College Station, first time he had ever lost to one of his assistants. He lost a national championship game to another assistant. And now you have a new force in recruiting. And some people will say, well, Alabama has everything going for them. They do. They put more players into the pros. They do this, they do that. However, they do not have as deep a pockets to buy players as Texas A&M. Texas A&M is an oil-rich state. Alabama is not. And I think that's really what really concerns Saban here. These new collectives, which are way too complicated to explain in a short period of time, are giving boosters the right to go out and bring players in, even though it's technically against the NCAA rules. But Ryan, guess what? There's no such thing as NCAA rules anymore. It's the wild, wild west. The NCAA really doesn't care, despite what they say. So if you want to cheat, it's open season.
So Paul Feinbaum getting a shot in at Jimbo Fisher as well, basically saying if you want to buy players. Yeah, so he's getting a shot. But then he also, though, says, you know, hey, Nick Saban's scared here a little bit because he lost to Jimbo Fisher last year, then alluding to the fact that he lost to Kirby Smart last year in the national championship game. Hadn't lost to an assistant going into last year, loses twice to an assistant last year, once in the national championship game and then to Jimbo Fisher. So basically, you have Keyshawn Johnson saying, one, Alabama needs to pay more money to get their players, basically is what he's saying, and that Nick Saban is scared. Then you have Paul Feinbaum saying that Alabama is scared, Nick Saban is scared, because Jimbo Fisher paid for all these players and has a deeper pocket base than what Alabama has. So this is interesting. I mean, this is getting good. I mean, because what Nick Saban said is not going away anytime soon. It's not like next week we're going to forget what Nick Saban had to say. That's not going to happen, because you're going to see it now throughout the recruiting base. If Texas A&M goes out in 2023 and has another top-ranked recruiting class, we're going to automatically assume that the collective bought Texas A&M another recruiting class. If Alabama struggles on the recruiting trail, and when I say struggle, and they don't get a top 5 class, we're going to sit here and say it's because Alabama's not paying their players enough to get them on campus. That's where we're at with college football right now. I have a feeling that's where it's headed to. I could be wrong. I could be way wrong. But I don't know. Anyway. All right, Floyd is with us real fast. Good morning, Floyd.
Good morning. I've been listening this morning, and I know Saban's getting a lot of the pub and everything for what he says. For what he said. But, you know, you don't exact change by sitting back and not saying anything.
Right.
I don't think he's doing it out of fear. I don't agree with that. But also, you know, Deion did make a statement and reply to it earlier when he said, we as a people don't have to pay our people to play for our people.
Yeah.
Now you can take that to mean anything you want to, but I sort of see it as sort of hypocritical, because it's coming from a guy that could have played for his people and went to Florida State to make a brand for himself. So, you know, take it for what it's worth.
Yeah. Well, I'm guaranteeing you, Travis Hunter did not just, as Drew says, wake up one day and say, I want to be a Jackson State Tiger.
True.
That
is true.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. I don't know. You know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, as the old saying goes. So,
yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, because, and I say it because you do now, we see it starting to come on. There's going to be two sides to this. There's going to be the side that Keyshawn Johnson, Paul Feinbaum say, well, Nick Saban is scared. And then you're going to have the other side that say, well, Nick Saban's doing this because he wants to get college football changed. He wants avenues changed in college football. There's going to be two sides of this that's going to come out of this as the day develops.
Yeah, I agree. But it's just like Drew says sometimes, you can I don't care if you sign 25 stars. If you can't coach them up, there's still going to be a problem.
Yes, that is another thing as well. What is going to happen when Jimbo Fisher loses 4 games this year?
That's true. Yeah,
right.
His seat will get a little hot, I think. Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks, Floyd. All right, that's just about going to do it. We got a short time left, and what a day it has been. Like I said, when I woke up this morning, I'm thinking, man, we're just going to come in here. We're going to talk a little golf. We're going to talk a little other things. Freddie Kitchens. Freddie Kitchens is now a senior football analyst for South Carolina. Freddie Kitchens has a new job. And we have a date, Chad, May 27th. We're going to get Top Gun Maverick in theaters.
Finally.
I am excited about this one. I really am
20
excited.
years too late, I
20
think.
years too late.
Or
Well,
however
I
many.
don't know.
Since the first one.
I have heard nothing but positive reviews about this
I love Top Gun, but man, I've lost my luster for
I have
anything
not
of that
lost
anymore.
my luster.
At least it's not like a remake, or at least it's not like they're just trying to copy and paste or anything.
No,
you know?
we are fast forwarding Top Gun through the times.
Nick Saban isn't scared. Paul Feinbaum just said that, and everybody else just said that, so they have content to talk about later, because that's all you're gonna hear from 2 to 4 today.
So you're not gonna hear from 2 to 4. You're gonna hear it everywhere.
It's 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock, and we're still talking. We're gonna be talking about it all day.
It was on the national news shows, not just sports shows this morning. The national news shows of what Nick Saban said last night. I told you he eviscerated everything with college football. We eviscerated our week. We're done. No show tomorrow. Best of Talking Ball. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.